Hi guys, it's actually quite late here. It's 5 to 11 in the night time, but I felt the need to actually do a video right now, so I'm going to go with it. I'm actually in my dressing gown because I was ready to go to bed, and these things have been sort of in my mind, and I figured that maybe I'd share them with you or with myself. However, this is all going to pan out, I don't really know. Still don't know. But what I've been thinking about today is the power of belief and how along my path in life I have experienced different kinds and types of beliefs. Um, and the more I absorb myself into a particular way of thinking, that would work for me, and I would solely really focus on that being how life was. Um, you go with what works for you. You do attract, and you focus on what you think is going to work for you, what feels right, what fits right when you're in that particular experience that you're going through. And we all, it's a human nature to look for something to attach to make life seem more bearable at times. But I think the problem that occurs is when you become so absorbed and attached to whatever it is that you are believing in at that particular time, that when that particular way of thinking or that particular religion or belief or spiritual understanding becomes actually not what you originally thought that it was. And again, this has drawn me back to how how people actually live, looking to fit in, looking for somewhere where they belong. And I had it said to me a few times, well, birds of a feather will flock together. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe it, because there are so many different species of birds, you know, and they are birds, it's, and we are human. And I think this is where the acceptance side of things comes in, and the power of a belief that you belong in a particular um, aspect of life, when in fact the only thing we really do have in common, and every single one of us who having a human existence has in common, is that we're human. So why can't humans start being human and being human together, regardless of skin colour, regardless of religion, regardless of the faith, regardless of social standing, regardless of any of it really. And I suppose it goes back to this whole thing of being good enough again, and the core of you always trying to strive. I'll use myself as an example, always trying to strive to be better than, or more than, or something that you're really not. And trying to I can't try and fathom it in my own head, and I don't really understand what all this is about, other than from this I'm going to get some learning. I have, like I said, I've got lots of friends in different walks of life, from different nationalities, different sort of way of thinking and being in the world, different types of thought processes. And I'm aware that I'm very, very tired, so I'm not going to be making much sense. But if I listen back to this in the morning, maybe something will come from it for me. I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to go with it and see where it leads. But the power of a belief, and the energy that you put into believing something is such a powerful force, is such a powerful energy that can consume your life, whether that is engaging in paganism, Christianity, spirituality, angels, anything really, even down to academia. So if you really, really believe that a theoretical approach to sort of counselling and psychotherapy, whether that's a humanistic approach or a cognitive behavioural therapeutic approach, or psychodynamic approach, because there's so many fields that come under the umbrella of therapy. It's quite consuming and quite overwhelming for someone that doesn't understand it all. And it branches off so many different avenues, you know, with regards to the individual learning. And this horses for courses, what works for one person may not work for another. And that was why I believed, and I still believe, that integration is about who I am and what my life experiences is about. It's integrating every aspect of my being to make me who I am, and it's made me who I am. I'm sure I would have had a very different life experience up to this point had I been sort of focused in Christianity and humanistic therapy, or if I'd been totally focused in paganism or sort of witchcraft as such, and maybe a cognitive behavioural approach, you know. Holistic therapies work. Every single thing will work if your power of belief is there. And rightly or wrongly, it's about how much energy you put into it, with regards to how it's going to impact your life. And that's from every single angle that you address life. Again, I'm sort of really drawn to this core, this inner thing that we all individually have, of trying to be more, trying to fit in, trying to find a home outside of the core of you. This is what I'm struggling with at the minute, whether I'm struggling it because humanity is struggling with it, or whether I'm struggling it because it's something I'm aware of and I haven't quite grasped yet. Only time will tell. But it's about that core, about being good enough. Again, you know, by accepting that you're good enough, you're never ever going to be looking for more. You're never going to be looking at outside sources for the answers, which actually come from within anyway. Because you are good enough. Every single human being is born with being good enough, or come to this earth plane. Again, it all depends on what you believe life to be about and how you connect with it. You know, it's regardless of whether you have a title that you put it onto it, you know, whether you think that there's a God that rules us all, and whether there's such a thing as karmic coins. And it's all down to the power of belief and the cause of effect. So what you believe in will become your reality. But again, the power of belief, I just think life would be so much easier for every single human being and human experience if they actually believe that they are good enough. And then everything that you actually attract to your life or experience in your life, or try and, you know, want to try out even, is going to be more enjoyable, because you're good enough anyway. You don't need to fit in. You're at home. You are completely at home with where you're at. I really have no idea what this is all about today. I actually watched a video earlier on, because life is vast and people become addicted to things. And I'm not talking about like addictions to drugs, addictions to alcohol, or sexual experiences, or porn, or self-harm, or anything, smoking, drinking, you name it. I'm talking about the addiction that every human being has, that they need to fit in somewhere. We are so addicted as human beings to be able to find something that fits, that feels right for us. And we're drawn to things that we think are going to make our lives better. And I'm not by any means saying that, you know, what you actually experience, what you feel from being in these sort of groups, want for a better word then, I'm not undermining any of that, because you do learn so much from everything you experience if you look at it from it from an open mind point of view and very objectively. And like I said, the only thing I firmly believe in about life is the power of a belief, regardless of what that belief is. And I think the missing step still, again, is how everybody, every spiritual teacher, every academic teacher, every human being strives to be more than good enough. And in doing so, they're never ever going to be good enough, you know. I remember when I first done my integrated counselling qualification, and my coordinator at the time wanted me to go and do a master's. I was teaching as well. I'd had my full PGC. And they were going to incorporate higher level qualifications within the establishment. And she wanted me to go and do a master's. And at the time I was a single mum, I had 2 children. And the thought of going back to do a master's was just so daunting, you know. And who was I doing that for? Because I was good enough. I'd achieved what I wanted to achieve with regards to that aspect of my learning, that I could apply everything that I learned in interactions. I didn't need to know the theses. I didn't need to know all the deeper stuff, the histories, because it was irrelevant. It was where we are now, and it was working from where we are now that was important to me. And I'm aware that the time on the videos that I upload on YouTube have to be under 15 minutes, or they have to be trimmed and cut. So I'm conscious that I'm watching the clock here, because if I do upload this video, it's got to be within that time scale. That's something else I've learned today, and overloading my iPad with lots of videos that were just too big to upload, and I had to cut this and cut that, and I was missing bits out. So I'm going to be looking at the clock to make sure that I do actually stop this before the 15 minutes are up, solely for the purpose of uploading it, really, and how I'm going to get that message across within that 15 minutes, I'm not sure. But I don't think there's anything that I'm particularly focused on that I need to get across as such. But in doing this, even if it's learning for myself, then that's good enough, you know. And I'm aware that it's sort of, and now I'm really conscious on the clock, and I'm thinking, would I upload this because I'm talking gibberish, and would anybody get? But then it's, again, human error, and that's good enough, you know. So somebody may get something from this, but even if somebody doesn't, I'm getting something from this. It's okay. Perfection doesn't exist. Nobody will ever reach perfection, because there is no such thing as perfection. But there is such a thing as being good enough. And from that good enough place, you can actually strive to become more than good enough if you want to, but you're good enough anyway, you know. And what you learn from that, everybody's good enough. Every single human being is good enough, which is quite an eye-opening, almost like a butterfly effect, you know. I've sort of come out of the caterpillar stage, and now I've found my wings, and it's quite an interesting place to be. So I'm gonna shut this video off now, and then I'm probably gonna look at it and see if there's anything that I've actually given in this message that I've done on this video that's important to me, you know, and if it will be important to somebody else, who knows? Because again, I have no idea where all this is going. But I'm going to say goodnight now, and have a good life. Be happy and be good enough. Bye.